Hello, this is Adam Rounisto, and you're watching another episode of Zero to Hero. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do some kind of intro like that in the future. Honestly, I'm just calling these things Zero to Hero because I can't think of anything else. That might not be what it's called overall. I kind of like the thing, but it's a little bit gimmicky for me, so it's like, whatever. But, yeah, let's get into meat and potatoes right here. I've actually got something very specific I'd like to talk about. In case you were watching my other videos, you probably realize at this point that this isn't my vehicle. And if you watched the last two videos, you probably know why. My transmission was taken to shit. But it turns out it's alright. He's almost off the pot because it's just I've had that car forever, so I thought it was serious transmission issues, but really it was just my transmission pan. It was all rusted out and stuff because the undercarriage of my car got destroyed, and inevitably what'll happen after a while is your little innards will start rusting away. So I will be looking for a new car eventually. I guess sooner than later, like probably start looking right now on the market. But my car, luckily, isn't going to be completely trashed like I thought it was. It was just like a fluid issue because it was leaking all out. But what do I want to talk about right now? Well, I want to talk to you today about why it's so important to make daily content. Or, I'm sorry, not necessarily make daily content, but why it's important that you work on your goal every single day. Jesus Christ, I just want to get over. You motherfucker. Alright, here we go. Okay, so I present to you real quick just a analogy or something for visualization so you can get a good clue what I'm getting at. So, if you're going to go plant a garden or plant a tree, typically you would go out there, you'd get the earth ready, or if it's a really fertile ground, you could just possibly throw the seeds on top of it. You would, or if you're planting an actual tree itself, then you would go ahead and dig a hole, and from there you nourish it by giving it the appropriate amount of vitamins or otherwise you might need for it, depending on the plant species, and vitamins and minerals. Then you would go ahead and make sure you water it generously, possibly put some topsoil or something over there, depending on what it is, maybe have some worm castings and otherwise. And then over the course of this, the sprouting and so forth, you give it different levels of attention. And after a while, with enough dedication, you end up with a nice looking tree or a fruitful garden. So this is a good representation of a working model of how things work in the real world. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because this is the exact same process you need to follow when you're pursuing your goals, but this is a little bit more what it looks like. You have this great idea, you want to get a garden, you plant a whole bunch of seeds, then you realize, I probably better get the ground ready, so you just kind of half-ass it, you get it ready, and then since you don't typically have a lot of time, you figure you crank it out really fast, and you just, spend a whole day planting and say, I'm just going to water the shit out of these plants. And then come back to it next weekend and see what you can do. But then you find out that all your crops are, they never even started growing because you drowned all the seeds out. And whatever it did sprout, and the rest of them the birds got because they just kind of rose to the top because they were floating, right? So I hope you get what I'm getting at. You can't just rush, do work over a weekend, and then hope to get the same results as you can by doing something very slow, diligently, and in control. There's been a lot of times where I followed that second model where I tried to just hurry and figure, I'm very dedicated, I can do a burst of dedication and I could probably crank it out with a little bit of maintenance, but no, that's not how it works. It takes a long time to get traction, and there's a good reason for that. I like the plan analogy because it's very intuitive, it makes sense, and when you really start to think about any goal that you have specifically, I'm sure you could, if you're being honest with yourself, realize it does kind of need the same formula. So let's just go over a couple specific examples, right? So one thing I'm doing is I'm making daily videos for the most part, Heaven forbid I miss a day here or there. I'm also making daily blogs on my website right now because I'm trying to build up content. I realize that over time, I'm going to have more and more and more to reference. See, right now, I don't have that many videos where I can say, click on the link in the description or click right here to see my video on, because they don't exist. I don't have any videos where I can do that kind of stuff, so without any kind of foundation, I have nothing to point and redirect to. But that's some of the most successful stuff you need, or that's the most important shit you need to be successful. If you don't have like links to keep your audience engaged, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to be that one-hit wonder, assuming people even watch it. But people don't typically, like, look at these videos right now. I mean, who knows when you're watching this video, but right now I got shit for views because I'm building my foundation. But, as I said in a previous video too, it's important that you keep working at it, because it doesn't matter what you have right now. It's what you're planning on getting in the future. You're building not your legacy right now, but you're building the person who will create the legacy later. If you understand what I'm saying. So you have to really be mindful of what you're doing every single day, because you're also forming a habit, which is the most important aspect of it. Who gives a shit? Yeah, you could really crank out something in a month or 2 months, and it could be amazing. You could sell the hell out of it. But the habits aren't formed until after about 90 days or so. That's why I tried to make the 90-day challenge back in the day. And, I had I went over this before, but the reason I failed is because I set myself up for failure. I made it too specific, too many rules, and then whenever one of those rules were violated, I allowed it to be way too easy for me to give up. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit not the way to go about it. I had great intentions about it, and I'm kind of doing the same thing in a way, except for it's no time limit. Like, it's not the 90-day challenge. It's the, hey, I'm on an adventure to try to figure out how to run my own business, and if you want to figure out the shit with me, by all means, watch some of my videos and check out my content to see where we're all heading in this thing, and maybe we can help each other out. I'm talking about a life journey right now, and this is the beginning steps. And, I talk about this also before. Credibility has to do a lot with a track record. People can see through your baloney. If you haven't been doing something for any given amount of time, your credibility goes down. Why do you think all these mortgage companies and credit card lenders and all these other things, assuming they're not specifically out there trying to scam you, why do you think they need such robust credentials? Because they want to see a snapshot of your character. They know damn well that people will tend to default on loans if they have had instances where they've paid cards late in the past, pay their mortgage late. So they are very specific that they make sure that you've had your shit together for a while, because that's what matters. It's not what you do today. It's not what you did last week because you were inspired and you figured you'd go on this rampage or rampage, what the hell? Like you're tearing down buildings or something. You're going on this, I don't know what the hell you call it, but you go crazy because you're motivated because you watch Tony Robbins from one day, and then you decided, hey, I'm going to change my life around, and then you end up doing the same bullshit you did, forever. If you don't build the habit, you can't get past that crap. So, it's super, super, super vital that you form that habit by doing something every day. And I'm a huge advocate of getting shit out there and working out the details later. I'll say this again. I've said this over and over again. But when I was writing my book, I wasn't an author before that. I didn't know what I was doing. Matter of fact, I even debatably screwed it up because I didn't get my book promotion properly. But I'll get that good for the next one. Big deal, whatever. I couldn't have a next one if I didn't have a first one, though. So that's like the key here, You have to have some form of foundation And if you don't have a foundation, then you have nothing to work off of. And you can't possibly have a foundation unless you're diligently working towards something. So what do? Every single day you work towards your goal. What does that mean? You know, there's a lot of times where I was discouraged because when I was writing, I couldn't write a damn thing. I decided I need to get a certain amount of words done, or I don't even know. I had an abstract goal. It wasn't even an amount of words or something. I was just kind of like, did I feel like I did a good job? And that's more of an issue for like setting my goals more specifically. But I was looking for the evidence, the results. I wasn't looking at what I was doing. See, in my opinion, setting aside the time specifically where you have nothing else scheduled except for you and what you're supposed to be working on, that's good enough, because that's still going to form your habits, your patterns of thinking. Because you're not always going to get, as they say, inspiration to be able to do what you want to do and get the results you want to get. So there's going to be a lot of disappointment in there. However, if your goal is, I'm going to try to get better every single day, I'm going to make loose goals so I have a rough idea where I'm going, and as I progress, make those goals better, take people's suggestions, don't have my head up my ass and think that I know what I'm doing, because obviously if I did, I would already be somewhere where maybe right now I'm not. And really take in consideration that what you did yesterday leads into what you do today. Your opportunities of tomorrow are what you do today. And that is super, super valuable, because as you chip away, as you learn a little bit more, as you read a little bit more, as you keep asking those questions, just the process of asking, just the process of, hey, how do I do this? I gotta Google search, right? Sometimes I'll be at work and I'll have like a little notepad where I'll just put questions like Google search this, have the answers so I know. Because it might be a wild goose chase, but you don't know until it's already out there. And another thing, like when you wait, like you try to be a perfectionist, I know a lot of people on YouTube and motivational speakers will be like, you know, they explain the problems of being a perfectionist, but here's just the basic here's the basic rundown of it, right? You have a great idea. Well, that's the problem. You think you got a great idea, but it's a whole bunch of horse shit. But you don't know that because you wait until you got all your horse shit piled up in one little stack, and then you release it to the public, only to have people say, man, that shit smells. You know, if you just throw a couple turds out there, you'll realize that it's literally putting out garbage. And then people can say, hey, get your act together. And then you could say, yes, sir. And you could start doing something of quality. Well, what's quality? Google search, Google search, Google search. How do I write so I don't look like an asshole? I mean, maybe not like that, but you get what I'm saying, right? What the fuck? But I hope you get the point of what I'm saying. You gotta work at it every single day. This isn't like I'm gonna bust ass and then take a year fucking spiritual awakening. No, man, this is the long run. This is lifestyle. This isn't a diet. This is how you're going to eat for the rest of your life. Things that are worth getting take time and take diligence, dedication. But I think I ran it for enough. And just for the record, so I made one video last night using the app Open Camera. That was pretty good, but it took forever to upload because I feel that the quality was too high. Now, how could you say it's too high? Well, I think that it was taking too many megabits into consideration that I would need for what it was, and it took absolutely forever to upload. So I'm using the traditional YouTube, not live, but just a record button to get my stuff in order. I think it's perfectly suitable for this. And as long as I'm not going down the freeway at 100 miles an hour, I don't have to worry about excessive cabin noise. So, alright, I've only got 5 minutes to wrap things up and get my stuff ready for work. So I bid you adieu. And hopefully you got some content from this. I had a little bit more direction in this one. And, you know, sometimes I'll just be bullshitting and talking about, like, what's going on with the business. But I did a lot of that yesterday in post and other stuff. And I'm going to just keeping it real here. So take care. If you got any value from this whatsoever, go ahead and hit that subscribe. Hit that like button and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you can get some updates as everything's going on. I am on a journey, so this is not going to be ceasing anytime soon. I'm completely all about taking input, people who want to collaborate and other stuff. It's all about moving in the future. It's all about moving towards success. So, well, take care.